Hello, my name is Cleydson Barbosa. I am a Brazilian and I speak Portuguese. At least Portuguese is my original language. Portuguese is the language that I speak since I am a little baby. My first words were in Portuguese, and all of the Brazilians speak Portuguese. And as a matter of fact, we have our own Portuguese. You have the European Portuguese and you have the Brazilian Portuguese. But to explain the differences between Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese, why you have this division, so just leave a comment down below if you want me to make a video explaining or helping to explain that, okay? On this video, I'm going to help you to understand why Brazilians don't speak Spanish. First, we Brazilians were discovered by Portugal. It means that we already had a very diverse country with many peoples already here in Brazil, many original people from everywhere. But when Portugal was looking for new lands around the world, they ended up here in Brazil and they conquered the place, and they could see that was larger than they imagined. They owned, they ruled the place, and then the Portuguese started being the official language of Brazil. Although we had already many original languages, many Indian languages, many wild languages, many languages that the European people didn't even understand or try to understand. So when they came here, they brought the culture, they brought the language, and they brought the religion. They tried to bring the Indians to the Catholic religion, and they brought slaves. They brought slaves from Africa. They brought many people from Europe, from different regions. And as Portugal was the one who was ruling the place, the Portuguese language would be an identity of their domain. So the language is the main identity of a people. So, such as the Roman people did with the Latin, Portugal did with the Portuguese. But they could not keep the language the way they wanted to, because the Brazil is such a large and diverse country that every region here in Brazil has its own way to speak the Portuguese. The average Brazilian barely speaks the appropriate Portuguese. Yes, if you are afraid of the Portuguese language, if you are even afraid of trying to learn, of trying to say the first words, don't be afraid. Take my hand, I'm going to tell you something. It's not different from the Brazilians themselves. No, Brazilians have the language they hear since they're babies until they get adults. At school they have the Portuguese subject, but when we speak it's very differently. If I, as a teacher, speak the appropriate Portuguese, first I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, and second, almost no one is going to understand me. Yes. So even Brazilians will not understand me if I use the appropriate Portuguese according to grammar, according to rules, etc. And we Brazilians can barely understand the people from Portugal speaking, because it's already two different languages. Portuguese from Portugal is a foreign language for us. If we live in Brazil, people from the north speak a kind of variation of the Portuguese spoken by the people from the south. We have differences just like the American and British English, but the official language, the rules, grammar, etc. is always being rebuilt, is always being developing to be always simpler, always easier to be understood. But if you speak to a Brazilian, you are going to use a way infinite simpler language than the one you're going to study. And for you to understand that, so make sure you're going to watch a video which is a way for you to understand Brazil and Brazilians. It's not a very fun video, it's not depressing either, but this is a serious video about Brazil and about Brazilians. So if you want to understand Brazil, if you want to understand Brazilians, I strongly recommend you to watch that. Okay, so you're going to understand better why we Brazilians are not so good with our own language. So why do you think we don't even speak Spanish, which is a foreign language? It's very similar, but it's a foreign language. Why less than 5% of Brazilians speak English? Yes, I am an exception. I am not the rule, I am an exception. And if you want to know anything else, if you have your comments, I'll be so glad to read your comments down below. I am really trying to make the link. I have many people from out of Brazil, and there are people out of Brazil who I still don't know, but I know that I'm going to reach through these videos, and to have a stronger link, to be more in contact, to have a nearer contact, be sure to join free our group on Facebook. The group is Meu Clube do Inglês, my English club, okay? Over there you're going to find a lot of Brazilians who want to learn and practice English. Alright? So you're going to see a lot of Brazilians hungry for trying to understand, trying to speak English, and as they learn, they can teach you a lot. You're going to find the Brazilians who want to help you to understand them, and they want help to be understood and to develop their English. So be sure to share this video with anyone you know who has the same question, and there in the group we're going to talk a lot. That can be just the start of a great change here in Brazil, in our educational system, and the distance to be thinner between us, okay? I see you on our group, and be sure to watch the video I told you about on the description of this video. Bye bye!